All right, picking up where we left off. All right, so we were wondering, is a fraction a part to part or a part to whole? If you answered that a fraction is a part to whole ratio, you are correct. Give yourself 2 pats on the back. All right, so why is a fraction a part to whole ratio? 2 to 4. We know that looking at this fraction, there are 4 total parts. So the total, or the word total, is the same thing as whole, the whole amount, the total amount. So with fractions, if we have 2 out of 4 shaded, then we're comparing the part that's shaded to the whole or the total amount. So that's why a fraction is a part to whole ratio. All right, another check for understanding. I want you to turn and talk to your partner. But before you do, let's go over a couple of your steps that you need to take in order to get the correct answer. Okay? So the Crusaders and the Blue Jays, let me stop and go back to your criteria for success. Step 1, you're going to read the question. Then you're going to identify your keywords, look for a relationship between the scores, and then solve for the final score. 30 seconds, go. All right, great. So we know that we're comparing the Crusaders to the Blue Jays, but let's read our question first. The Crusaders and the Blue Jays just finished the first half of their basketball game. So we read the question. We're going to identify our keywords. Our keywords in this is the first half. The first half. So that means if they're a half means out of 2. So they just completed the first half of it. So we're looking at the relationship, and we see that the Crusaders scored 30 and the Blue Jays scored 20 in the first half. But if we're looking for the final score, we know that final is the same thing as saying like the end of the game. The end of the game is the same thing as saying the total or the whole game. So we're going to take our number and we're going to multiply it by 2, because if we're going 1/2 and 1/2 to a whole, we know that we have to multiply by 2 in order to get our answer. So our answers are 60 and 40. What do? We multiply by 2. 30 times 2 is 60. 20 times 2 is 40. How do we get our final answer? So if the Crusaders scored 30 at the halftime, then in order to find out what they scored at the end of the game, we have to multiply by 2. And remember, whatever I had to do for the Crusaders, I also have to do for the Blue Jays, which is how I got the scores 60 and 40. Which model below shows the ratio of 2 to 1 of the shaded to unshaded? So 2 to 1. So we know that 2 plus 1 is 3. There are 3 total parts, and 2 of them are shaded. So if I'm looking at F, G, H, F, G, H, and J, I see that only G has 3 total parts, and only 2 of the 3 are shaded. So I know that my correct answer is G. All right, and we're going to go over our last key point. So for today, 2 or more ratios are the same if the parts of the ratio increase or decrease by the same factor. So if we're looking at blueberry muffins compared to pumpkin muffins, we know that there are 3 blueberry muffins. If we're looking at our picture, then we know that at the bottom it's showing 2 muffins that have a design on them. So we're going to assume that those are our pumpkin muffins. So we have 3 blueberry muffins for every 2 pumpkin muffins. Okay. But if we're looking at our next set of pictures, we'll see that there are a total of 6 blueberry muffins and 4 pumpkin muffins. So in order for us to get from 3 to 6, we had to multiply by 2. But remember, whatever we do to the top, we must do to the bottom. So 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. We know that if we want to take 6/4 and put it back in simplest form, we can just, instead of multiplying by 2, we would divide back by 2. And that'll put us back in our simplest form, which would be 3/2. Okay? Before we move on to the teacher model, let's check to make sure that you're understanding. Thumbs up that you understand, thumbs down that you don't. Oh, great. We're at 100%. 100% of my students understand. Let's go ahead and move on to the teacher model. All eyes on me.